I'm here to tell you that no foreign government and no domestic government is going to stop human trafficking by themselves. The only way this is going to stop is by you, person of influence, getting involved here locally so that we can impact the rest of the country and the rest of the world. So I'm asking you, now that you've become aware, will you join us? Will you join the awakening?
Welcome to the second episode of the Awakening series. Today we're going to be discussing the issues that are facing parents today when it comes to their own children and online safety. I feel very strongly about this topic because I've had to receive the calls from the parents whose children have been taken and they are missing, and you know, they call us for help. And so in the midst of seeing what the worst case scenarios can look like, I want to equip you as parents to be able to know, like, yes, this is happening, but these are the things that I can do to ensure that my kids are connected and that they're safe from this. And also, what do you do if you feel like your child is potentially being targeted and at risk? So those are going to be some of the things we're going to cover today. And again, we just hope that this is helpful information for you as you're navigating the issue of human trafficking in your own family and community. So first of all, this was just recently, within the last couple of weeks, we had a call, and it was actually through a local church that was trying to help a single mom. And this mother's daughter had left the home. She wasn't sure what the situation was, a young girl, 14 years old. And we began asking, questions to see what the situation might have been for her daughter, to see if it was potentially a trafficking situation. And sure enough, the girl had all the signs that we know are key red flags for a child who has been targeted. So this girl had been isolating more and more from her family and her friends, and was just withdrawn. She wasn't, she was typically a really good student, but now she was not doing well in school, was missing some classes, all of the telltale signs of a child who has been targeted by a trafficker. So as we worked with this mother, we were actually able to help, and she was recovered and returned back to her mom, gratefully, but that's not always the case. We know right now in the United States that over 300,000 kids are lured into sex trafficking every year within the United States. And those numbers are astronomical. We also know that the average age of a child who is being sex trafficked is 13. So I don't know how old your kids are, but I know for me, those are numbers that are staggering as a nation. And I want you as a parent to feel like you don't have to operate in fear about it, because you have the tools that you need as a mom or a dad, or even, if you're an uncle or an aunt or someone who just has kids in your life that you care about. I want you to feel like you can know the signs and know what to do to help. So first of all, I just want to encourage parents that it's our duty to stay engaged and involved in our kids' lives, even when it is no longer welcomed or solicited by our kids. They get to that age where they're beginning to pull away from us. It's very natural, but it is not okay for us to allow them to disconnect. And that is, I feel like, in our society, one of the quickest ways that we as parents can reduce the risk for our own children is stay connected and stay engaged. Know who your kids' friends are. I always feel like it's good to make a point to have your home be a home that is open to your kids' friends or their new girlfriend or boyfriend, that your home is accessible to them, that they want to come hang out with you, so that you can get to know the people that are influencing your own children. Another really key helpful hint is to take your kids' phones and their devices at night when they're going to bed. Have them turn them into you in your bedroom. This may feel like to the kid that you've just cut their arm off because they're so used to having their devices all the time. But number one, they need their rest anyways. And this disrupts that when they have access to all these devices throughout the night. Secondly, that's when they're alone and vulnerable, and those are the times when those who are potentially targeting kids are going to be looking to see which kids are still online. And so I encourage you to have a policy set in place, and it's just the rule. And your kids know at bedtime, I have to turn my device in. The next thing that you can do is to pay attention to red flags, changes in your own kids. If your kid suddenly begins to isolate, they're more withdrawn, maybe they're beginning to lock their door on their bedroom, or they're spending way more time in the bathroom than they ever have before, and you know that they're not necessarily taking a shower that long. Really pay attention to when your kids are isolating, and don't allow that to go on without checking in with your kid. And if you begin to notice that your child is just, maybe they used to be a lot more lively and had joy and they were happy, but you see that they've become more sullen or almost depressed, that's another sign that your kid needs you to engage with them. So don't ignore the red flags and think, oh, well, they're just a teenager and they're just probably hormonal. Really live in the same space with your kid and don't assume that as a parent, you need to let them figure it out on their own and navigate on their own. They're still under our care for a reason. The next thing I want to encourage you to do is to go ahead and have a plan. If your child happens to come to you and tells you something is happening with this person that's making me feel unsafe or uncomfortable, if they happen to tell you, hey, this person tried to send me something online, and if your child is brave enough and courageous enough to come to you, then I want you to already be prepared for that and not in shock, because sometimes when we're in shock as parents, we just react and we go overboard. So really start thinking, talk to your spouse, or if you're a single parent, then start having your own action plan. If your child comes to you, the first thing I want to encourage you is to be safe for your child. If your child comes and says, hey, this is going on, I want you to be able to say to them, hey, I'm so sorry that you're having to deal with that. Let's talk about this together, and I'm going to help you navigate this. What are you feeling right now? What are the signs? What are the things that happened that made you feel uncomfortable or unsafe? What's happening? And let them bring you into their world, because they're actually crying for help, which is huge. I believe it's a very small percentage of kids that have gone to their parents. And I feel like if we make it safe for them to do so, they'll feel like they can a lot more frequently. The second thing is, if you happen to discover something on one of your kids' devices, or you walk in on something and see something inappropriate happening with your child, again, have your action plan already prepared so that we're not, shaming our children. We're not telling them, how could you do this? And I taught you better. Like, it's not the time for the lecture. This is the time to assess how deep is your child entrenched into this world? How far have they gone down this path, and what do they need? This is the time when you surround your child with love and support and encouragement, because the last thing you want is for them to pull further away from you. So I just want to encourage you that you are your child's best bet at being protected from this. As long as we stay engaged and connected to our kids, we make sure that our kids are in healthy environments around healthy people, and we're checking in with them. We're monitoring what's happening on their online, life. We're not just leaving them out there to fend for themselves, and we're a safe place for them to come and talk to you. Whether they initiated it or whether we discovered something, our goal at that point is to help them out of it. So I hope that those tips are helpful for you as you are navigating this as a parent. And I know that as we take this on in our own homes, we're going to equip our kids to be able to handle what's coming at them.